What would make Thanksgiving more hyped, right? Because Halloween, even though it's just a one night out of the thing, we do horror movies the entire time. You see, like you hear Halloween music, you see decorations
Mhm.
everywhere. Maybe we need decorations of Thanksgiving,
You know
like
what it is?
outside.
It's the participation. You participate
Mm,
in Halloween. Everyone does something. You get to pretend to be something. Christmas, you're
yes.
all doing something. You get presents. Like there's an activity. But with Thanksgiving, there's kind of like stay out of the kitchen. It's more of like staying out of the way. That's
Yeah.
what it is. There needs to be more participating. I think that's
Yes.
what it comes down to. Maybe we all have to kill a turkey together.
I have a different outlook because our Thanksgiving is in October before Halloween.
So there's a
True.
fake Thanksgiving. Tell us about this fake one.
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
It's
She
Thanksgiving.
got
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
yeah, Thanksgiving. I'm kidding. She got so offended while being nice.
No, see, see, I like it that ours is earlier because if it happens in late November, there's a very high possibility of a lot of snow and it looks like Christmas, so you can't really get into it. But this way it's fall still. So we get all our Thanksgiving stuff out of the way, and then it's Halloween, and then it's like Christmas. But no, then November's like nothing, and then there's Christmas. But what I love about American Thanksgiving, because it's so late in November, is like that's like the kickoff to the holiday season. That's like you guys get like this is when the holiday season starts. And it's just like there's the
Hmm.
parade, Macy's Thanksgiving parade, and it's like Thanksgiving and there's Santa there, right? Right? Is that a thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of combined into one a little bit, which kind of sucks, 'cause then Thanksgiving doesn't get all of the glory it deserves.
I wouldn't like it cutting into October because I like October being
Yeah,
the entire month of
Yeah.
Halloween. Like
yeah. I
we
don't I,
are horror
I don't like that
fans.
either. I
Yeah.
don't like that there's interference, there's overlap. You're taking days from Halloween.
Yeah. Don't take days away from Halloween. It earned
Yeah,
its right. It's horrific. You know what I mean? Let us
yeah.
celebrate.
November, there's
That's why
nothing
it
else
suits
going on. Take November.
but it suits like slaughtering a turkey though. If it's close to Halloween, we can all slaughter turkeys together in Canadian Thanksgiving and then use that as like Halloween decoration, some gizzards, you know.
Ooh,
That is
carcasses.
morbid.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what would make it a
Predator
real
style.
hybrid? If the turkeys were slaughtering the people and you had to survive till Halloween.
Gobble gobble.
Yeah.
The more festive you are, the more turkey carcasses you have dangling in the front, right? Like very predator like.
They kind of walk around with a little extra confidence for a meat that isn't even that good.
No, it's overrated. I'll be
No,
honest.
Yeah.
you're not beef, you're not bacon. You shouldn't walk around with that much confidence.
Definitely not chicken.
Yeah.
I say if you
Yeah.
feel that way, you haven't had the right turkey yet.
Do you deep fry it?
Huh? No. Oh, no. No.
I don't know.
I don't want to have a heart attack. The hell?
Turkey's
Wouldn't mind
overrated.
I,
one day.
Honestly,
I speak as someone who's made a turkey pretty much every year since 2007, and it's always been perfect. I've always had a moist turkey. It's never dry.
even with that, I've had good turkeys. But if someone would be like, all right, right now, what you're gonna have, I'm gonna go through a lot of other meats before I get the turkey.
Yeah. I always go the dark meat in the turkey, but then the white meat I don't really eat, and I never eat turkey left over. You know, like the next day when you eat, like you heat up the Thanksgiving food, it tastes so dry the next day when I reheat it.
Again, see,
The
this is why
opposite.
I wish I could have you guys in my home. All right, that's the one thing I can still make every year that I can eat, and it's always perfect. The key is you got to inject the turkey with the flavor. People don't do
Oh
that.
yeah, man.
They just put a turkey in the
Ooh.
oven and forget about it. You got to take time. It
Mm-mm.
takes
Forget
love and
about
care.
it.
All right, you got to baste it. You
No,
got to
man.
inject it. And
You gotta
mostly,
make
Ooh.
love to
I'm
it.
Puerto Rican. I'm putting the Puerto Rican flavor in there, right?
Wow.
You make
There's
love to
adobo and
it.
sazon being stuffed in that turkey.
Ooh. Okay.
It's funny, Dan, because I'm the opposite. I go for the white meat usually in the
Mm.
turkey. I prefer
Do
that.
you?
Love that
Yeah.
breast.
I
That
always go
breast
dark
meat.
meat, man. I go with that dark meat. It's a little succulent, and I do a cranberry. I like the cranberry that you throw on top and stuff. And
So yeah, I don't
mm,
do cranberry.
No,
I'm not a
no,
big
no,
stuffing person
no.
either.
I love stuffing.
Oh,
I
stuffing's so
me
good.
Gravy.
too.
I love with gravy and stuff. Throw that
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah.
Mac and cheese. It's all carbs. All carb. My plate's all
Yeah.
carbs, and I love it.
Yeah.
For
Carb
Christmas,
load.
Yeah. So Christmas, huh?
Oh
Now that
yeah.
we went, you know what? We did enough. Thanksgiving. You know, we gave you enough of your respect right there because we didn't do a Thanksgiving episode, even though we did a Halloween episode. We just briefly we gave you about 7 minutes worth of Thanksgiving. We gave you
Because
your love.
Christmas is about giving. That's why.
Exactly. That's what it is. So now let's hit on the Christmas. So this week's episode, we did something a little different. We each played like a swapping, what are you gonna say? We played Secret Santa, where we had to pick a Christmas movie that another person hadn't seen. We gifted them this beautiful pleasure of an experience to sit down. And we're here to review those movies. And
experience is the key word.
not a single
Yeah.
movie is one that I would say is widely viewed, or most probably never even heard of these movies. So here we go. Right. So welcome back to Not a Strong Start, a podcast by filmmakers to talk movies, television, and talk 7 minutes on Thanksgiving. I'm your host, Daniel Bloody Daniel.
7 minutes in heaven. Richard. I am not your host. For free.
I'm the other guy, Joe Christmas Spirit.
And I'm Momar the Martian. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that for now.
All right. So first, we're gonna hit you with a current event.
Boom. All right. In our continual coverage of A24, one of our favorite studios, two projects recently got announced that are going to be in development. And I think this fits into their wanting to go kind of bigger. And, one is there's going to be a project that seems pretty like serious with The Rock. So we're actually going to get to see, can The Rock handle some serious material? I mean, he's done some stuff, but he hasn't done A24 stuff. So that's going to be one project. Another one is he's actually going to be taking a Hideo Kojima game, Death Stranding, and they're going to be making it into a movie. So that's another one that it was like one has a big name attached to it, and the other one has a game that is developed by someone who's a big name too. And we're going to be getting that in the future. So these are the few steps that we're going. So what do you guys think about these initial steps to try to go bigger?
I kind of feel for the Kojima thing, I feel like they should have gone maybe with something like Metal Gear as more of a tried and true thing. Death Stranding, that's a tough one. That wasn't a big hit with everybody. With the Kojima fans, yes, it locked in, but for the gamers, not so much. What's it gonna be, a walking simulator movie? I don't know. I'm not. I don't know about that. But the thing with The Rock, it's like that could be something worthwhile. Honestly, I think The Rock doesn't get enough recognition for what he can do. Everyone just sees muscles and humor, and they kind of just brush him off. So there could be something promising there.
So I feel like The Rock may have watched that episode where we discussed about how The Rock needed to stretch out his boundaries a little bit and test himself and do something a little more dramatic. So I think this is exactly what the hell he should be doing. We're all fans of The Rock. I like to think. I don't know if Marie is. I think she is. But I know the three of us guys.
She is now.
Yeah, she is now. I know the three of us guys are fans of him. And I am curious, and I really want to see him stretch himself out there because we've seen Bautista do it, and he's done it well. I want to see The Rock doing it. So, yeah, I'm on board. Regarding the video game adaptation, a little bit of what George was saying, it seems I'm fascinated to see how they're going to do this. I like the idea, though, that they're taking potentially tentpole projects, and I want to see how they go about this, because as long as they keep their A24 style to it and the quality, I'm excited.
I look at A24 all the time as just more of a serious type, sometimes darker, really mature type thing. And having The Rock tied into that a little bit is kind of it's confusing me a little bit. What are they going to do? How are they going to have, he's such a family name, The Rock. I picture him family movies and doing comedic stuff and everything like that. Sure, he probably can do other things, but I don't what kind of A24 stuff is he going to be in where it's going to feel A24 how it's going to have that same feel. And for video games, that's where I like to see video games to always take a more darker, I'm not saying it's always dark, but a more, I'm going to say, not a Blumhouse type thing. I like seeing all video games be elevated to be more for an older audience in a sense. You know what I'm saying? I don't really know that game. I don't know what it's about, but a company like A24 taking on any video game, I'm do it. I want to see it. The Rock's a little confusing to me.
Quickly, just guess what the storyline for the video game is. Just make it up.
Oh my god, this is not a late to the game. I'm not. No,
damn
I'm not
it!
I'm mentally prepared.
Marie.
Damn it! A walking simulator is what George said, right? Let's do that. But I just hope if they take on bigger projects. If they take on bigger projects and they get bigger and bigger and bigger, more popular, like I say, I hope they just keep their same je ne sais quoi to them and don't, or please just stay the same and be yourself, A24. Like don't change.
I mean, overall, the addition of The Rock is interesting. I mean, he's done some non-comedic stuff in the past. I think he had that movie Snitch, where he played, it's more of a crime thriller, and he played more of a serious role. And then he had that other
I
weird
always think of
movie,
Southland Tales.
Southland Tales.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same creator of
that's
Donnie Darko. It's a weird sci-fi, just odd movie.
yeah. So there is some stuff to pull from in the back, but then he found out going to his comedic ends means money, means blockbuster, and he kind of stood in that lane and never expanded off that early work. So hopefully this gives him a chance to show that aspect of it. And then regarding the video game itself, I feel that that's a good initial step. Like I know, George, you mentioned Metal Gear Solid, but I'm guessing the IP for Metal Gear Solid is going to be a lot higher price, and then you're dealing with Konami there. While this one, you're probably dealing more with Kojima himself because that's his stuff. So it's probably a way to get an IP that's known enough at a lesser price and something they can work with. So it seems like a good initial step when it comes to that. And this game, even though it wasn't the most popular once it opened because of the pace of it, it does have a following. So it might be a good starting point. So until they let me down in A24, I trust.
As we get into our next segment, which is going to be our Christmas movies, what Christmas sweaters are you guys wearing? Let's show people. What are you guys wearing? We got 2 Star Wars. There you go.
See, I'm glad I didn't wear my Star Wars sweater because I almost did the same thing.
There you go. Very large, small size.
A very large men's small on the small version.
All right, George, who do you got?
And I got my good guy sweater on.
Sweet.
Lights and all.
Ooh, I like
and
it.
Sounds.
Oh man, I gotta find the button now.
That's what he
That's
said.
what she said.
That's so said. People said it. Remix.
There you go. Hi. Have Krampus. There we go. Little guys.
Stand up,
All right.
stand up, stand up,
Stand
stand up.
up.
Let's see it. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Do a little dance.
Let's him spin on the mic. There we go. All right. So let's get into these movies then. So who wants to start off first? Who gave who which movie and why did you select that one? Let's go that way. So George, we'll start off with you. Who did you give a movie to and which movie was it? Who did you give it to and why?
I chose the movie Santa Claus the movie.
Wait, that was the one?
I know Jose's joking because he definitely watched it. Jose's the one I gave it to.
Nice. There goes Santa. Okay.
Yeah,
Why
I
did
gave
you
him
choose
that
it?
movie. I gave him that one because it's one of those movies I grew up with. I think it may have actually just aired on TV and then became straight to VHS or whatever. I know Jose well enough. I've known him for years. There's no way he watched this. Most people I know haven't watched this. You know, it has people you know in it, but it's just one of those things that definitely flies so far under the radar. And once Jose starts talking about it, you'll know why. This is not something that's going to be a celebrated Christmas movie.
It's not
Well, I
celebrated.
watched it every year for some reason as a kid.
Okay, nice. All right, so Jose, tell us about it. How phenomenal was it? Out of 5 ho ho ho's, how many ho ho ho's did you get?
Well, I'll ho it at the end
Okay.
of the description. Don't want to ho it too early. If you ho it too early, it's just not the right ho-hos.
Just a bunch of hoes.
Things just go out of whack and sleighs everywhere. You don't want this.
Yeah, you don't want the jingle balls all over the place.
Yeah.
All right. So George was correct. I had not watched this. Not only had I not watched this, I was not aware that this movie even existed in any way. It had John Lithgow in it, which I like John Lithgow. So I was like, okay, all right, that's promising. That's a promising start there.
In a comedic role or not?
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Not sure if it's all intentional, the comedy, but
Yeah, here we go.
it's
Yeah.
there. All right. So for those who haven't seen it, this is directed by, and I'm going to butcher this name, like Jano Schwer or Schwark or Swark, better
Sure.
known for
Sure.
such great movies as the old Supergirl movie and Jaws 2. Same
Ooh, those are
director
some
as those.
great classics.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So this
Ooh.
this guy is, on the roll during this time frame. Basically, to break it down, it's a Santa origin story where he goes from normal toy maker person to magical Santa overall. And they really push the origin story, and we need to nail this lore for a good hour before anything happens within it. And that's the main thing for the movie. It's like an hour and 48 minutes. You get like an hour in before like the conflict kicks in, and it's like, okay, now let's get into the plot of this story. But
Oh, wow.
most of the first hour is just like we're just gonna
Exposition.
exposition dump this lore right onto you.
Yep, Jaws 2. Now I get it.
The first thing that caught my attention in this movie is within the first scene. So after he's delivered his little gifts and stuff, said hi to the kids and everything, he's traveling to this next place on his sleigh, not a magical sleigh, regular sleigh, him and Miss Claus, and they run into a terrible snowstorm. And the reindeers get tired and they pass out and they can't see anything. And they pretty much just give up and get ready to die at that point. They're just like, okay, that's it, it's over. And they lay there. Then the camera pans around, and about 50 feet behind them is the house they just came from. Like, why don't you just turn around and go back to the house you just came from instead of just accepting it's just being like frozen to death out here in the storm? That was the first like
But
few
it's
minutes that I
so
was like,
far, Jose.
yeah.
It's like Harold and Kumar, where it's like we've walked so far, and you just see them right down the hallway.
I was like, did they not see that? Did you hear that? Turn around and go back to that house. Uh, so the highlight of this movie is John Lithgow. He plays the villain in this, and he goes over the top in there, but it's an entertaining over the top. He is like as evil as you can be without like wiping out an entire city. Not that he wasn't willing to do that for money at all. He is PBR in a brandy glass evil. That's where he is, because that's exactly what he does in one scene. And I was like, this evil son of a bitch. But the general concept is you have like Santa, after being Santa for a while and getting all his magical abilities and all of that, he decides to get a second in command elf, and he goes for the elf that does quantity over quality. So this guy is the inventor and he's all this stuff, but there is absolutely no quality control on these toys by Santa or by the elf. So of course, all the toys start breaking, people are disappointed, and then it gives the big corporation a chance. Once that elf gets fired, he goes to work for this evil man, because even though the elf knows that this person is naughty and evil, who else would he work for? So he goes to work for this evil corporation guy, uses the magical powers to develop basically like a candy that can help kids float, and they start trying to put Santa out of business. That's the general concept.
Help kids float? Float?
They eat the candy and then they
He's
float.
he's cutting through some story points here, but yeah,
That's like Willy Wonka, right? With the soda pop.
Yeah, I just didn't want to get through all the details, but yeah, that's the gist of it. It's like lollipop toys. It pretty much he makes them with the magic that they use for like the reindeer and stuff, so the kids start floating slightly, and it makes a ton. It becomes very popular all around. They want more, so Lithgow starts pushing them to like do more, even though it becomes more dangerous towards all the kids and everyone who owns it, as in these things might explode and wipe out some people. But overall, it's a very goofy movie, and many things do not make sense. And it, like, again, it takes forever to get into it. But if I had to say anything positive about it, there is a certain charm to it. There was this one scene when the elf pretty much is about to get fired, but he gives the whole like, "I'm not getting fired, I'm quitting" type stuff. I mean, not to that same effect, but he pretty much just resigns and he says his goodbyes, and I was like, okay, there's a little emotional cue. So there is some charm to it. I can see kids at the time enjoying this, not for a first watch as an adult.
So how many ho ho hos?
Now I'm gonna give it like 1.5 ho hos.
Ho huh.
Ho
You
ho.
just stop it there.
Oh.
Ho huh.
Had to clear my throat.
Yeah. So I couldn't even tell you're just clearing your throat or like you're actually doing a ho ha. So all right, 1.5 ho has. All right, that's fair enough. George, would you say that's fair assessment? Anything you want to say about the movie?
I mean, as an adult, yeah, it's a fair assessment. Because I rewatched it for the sake of Jose suffering. Obviously,
Yeah.
we all suffer together. And the last time I probably watched this movie, I may have been like, I don't know, 11, 12 years old. So it's just like, it's back then, it's like, I probably still have the nostalgia. I watched it again now. It's like, Lord, I did not realize how long this took. And honestly, here's my speculation. I think it was all a dream. I think Santa died. I think that Santa and Mrs. Claus die in the snowstorm, and when they go to meet the elves that welcome to like the workshop and everything, I think that's their heaven. I think they were sent to like heaven or purgatory, and it's just all afterlife stuff. Like I think there's a deeper story here that they didn't expect to have, because I don't think he survived that snowstorm. I think they all just passed away.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Was it
And
a
in
Donner
the
party?
purgatory, he ends up at the end pretty much kidnapping the little girl.
Yeah,
For,
kidnaps both kids. He
This
kidnaps
is
the
not a
homeless
kid
boy
movie. This is not a kid movie.
and little girl. Yeah, which I predict that they become the new Mr. or Mrs. Claus.
By force
Yeah,
and
yeah,
manipulation. I
yeah.
see.
Lots of product placement too. McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Pabst Blue Ribbon. Yeah.
You called the Santa the movie. I
Um,
immediately thought commercialism as soon as you
Oh,
guys
yeah,
said
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I figured.
I mean, there's the whole thing with John Lithgow's character when he tries to do this whole thing with the candy. He's like, let's sell the candy even sooner, like 2 weeks before Christmas, and we'll call it Christmas 2. So he's totally is trying to franchise Christmas into this whole like movie thing.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
yeah, 1.5 hose.
Next up, I'm gonna say the movie that I picked for Marie. So this one is I chose Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, a 1964 version to be specific, because we found out that there was 3 of these made. Why? I have no idea. So I wanted to be funny, and I picked one that had a funny movie poster. I had not seen it. I had no prior knowledge this movie was good. I made her watch it, but as a result, I had to watch it as well. So Marie, take it away.
So I watched it, and the pleasure I got out of watching this movie and forcing myself to finish this movie was the fact that I knew Daniel had to also suffer during this movie, and I was like, ha, he had to feel it as well. So, the movie Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, I knew nothing about it, obviously, and I was really hoping that I was going to see Santa Claus conquering some Martians. Like, there's going to be like fighting. Santa Claus is going to come save the day.
And
He's going to
tanks.
kick some, yeah, he's going to kick some Martian booty. Like I thought? No, it's not like, no, it's definitely a kid's movie. There's no conquering of any sort. So, all right. The Martians, where I got my name, Momar the Martian. That's the mom. The mom's called Momar in this movie. All the names are very hilarious. Um, the Martian children are watching Earth shows and Earth TV, and they see Santa, and all the Martian children are depressed and don't laugh and have no fun because all they do is Martian school. And they think, oh, let's kidnap Santa so that our Martian children can have joy, I guess. Is that why? Anyway, these kids are straight up in green face in this movie. Very not Martian friendly.
Don't do that.
Very offensive to the Grinches out there.
They couldn't catch
Yeah,
real
very.
Martians.
And I know, right? Exactly. So anyway, so the Martians go to Earth to kidnap Santa. It was kind of funny when the Martians are looking at Santa through their high-tech technology, and they're like, there's this Santa and there's another Santa, but really it's all the Santas just like on the street ringing their bells. I was like, ha, that's kind of clever. That's where the cleverness stopped. Cleverness. Anyway, so they go and they kidnap Santa, but they also see these children and another child kidnapping. There's a lot of child kidnapping in these Christmas movies, I guess. And they kidnap these two Earth children to because they know where Santa is in the North Pole. And then they go to North Pole and they kidnap Santa and they bring him to Mars to be the Santa there. And they basically force him to do labor for the Martian children, which I'll start laughing because Santa's in the room. I don't know. It's just they find joy. And then they have to get Santa out of there. And then I don't even know what happens at the end, man. Like Santa goes back because Santa ends up going back because they're like, oh, you have a goofball Martian here. He can be Santa. Haha, you don't need me. And then there's a bunch of laughing for no reason. Santa's like creepy and weird. And it's not even about Santa, really.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Like my all Marie's notes are just about how awful, like just random words like Septober and Chochum. Oh my God, what the F?
Chochum.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
This is an
Chochum.
ass.
Uh-oh.
Okay,
Chochum.
Can we say that
so
on television?
Chochum.
It happened in fourth
Chochum
grade and it was
isn't-
a very embarrassing moment for me.
Guys, does this mean something?
It's in
What is a
Spanish,
chochum?
Almost. Oh.
Almost.
What does
Texas
it mean?
Spanish.
Anyway, he was this like 800-year-old wise Martian that was in this forest, and I'm telling you guys, people did acid to make this
Yoda?
movie. Like I don't know how. And yeah, that was the movie. I don't know really what to say about it. There was a grown person in a polar bear outfit. There was a grown person in a cardboard robot outfit. Two Martians fought each other in this hilarious fight scene that was just like so cringe and laughable. Santa is a madman. This angry Native American drummer toy. These are my notes, just random sentences. The song in the beginning, "Hooray for Santa Claus," is a banger. The kids straight up
I
in
had
green
that too.
face.
I said the opening song is actually not bad. It's got a hip jazzy song for the background. I said, you know what? Low key, kind of fire.
No, thank you. That's that was
It peaked.
my
It peaked with the
first
opening
note.
credits.
My
Mhm.
first note, "Hooray for Santa Claus" is a banger. And then it was like, oh God, people agreed to be in this movie? That's a note. These elves are the crappiest hammerers ever. You can see Saturn in the background as if there is no atmosphere. I said, okay, message about the corruption of TV and electronics. And then my next note was, this is going to be hard to get through. What was the budget for this? There's fighter jets and military shots and a rocket going up into space, like this stock footage. Sorry. Kidnapping kids at gunpoint.
Mhm.
And how did he conquer? The title is so misleading. Those are my
Yes.
notes.
Okay, so mine, I said that. I said Winky in charge of a space program. The guy's name is Winky, which is funny. I said total Star Trek vibes on Mars. They had laundry machine hoses attached to their helmets. Those were laundry. There were literally laundry machine hoses. That's not an exaggeration, George. It's literally what they were. I said they're trying to steal Santa. Yeah, a guy literally shoves a gun right in the kids' faces. He doesn't just hold them like hostage, like literally shoves it right in the kids' faces. Like
A
that was
rifle.
more violent than what Tarantino's done in his movie. I said, and the robot was kind of cool, and I wanted him to do the Robo Boogie.
He reminded me of the
To the
robot in
opening
the
song.
Yes, that would have been good. He reminded me of the robot in the Beastie Boys Intergalactic music
Yep.
video. I was like, yeah, I was like, okay. But that polar bear, oh my God, Daniel, that polar bear, the person in the polar bear outfit, and they see the cracks. That was funny.
So this movie
Terrible.
is beyond horrendous, and this is exactly what the hell I wanted. So as you guys know, I wanted something really bad. This was really bad. I wish I had a couple more funny like humor that we can laugh at about how poorly it was made, but it was very boring moments in it where I was just like, oh my God, this is like so cringe and like, oh, this sucks. Like I did damage to myself on this one, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
I felt like we were like it's, you know, we're like part of a trauma team together that we had to go through this movie, but you know what? We're right on pace. So
So pretty much you threw a grenade in a small room.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But Daniel, you sacrificed yourself for me, and when we died together, and
We
I
died
feel
together.
it. It's good.
Hopped on the bomb. So we
Yeah,
did.
we did.
All right.
It's
So
bad.
yeah. So how many ho ho hos do you give it?
Oh, I think I'm gonna give it half a hoe, and that whole half hoe goes to Hooray for Santa Claus.
Yeah, add that one to the mix,
Oh,
huh?
Yeah.
Spotify. There you go.
It is going on my Christmas list.
All right. So Jose, who did you get? What movie did you pick, and why?
I got Anne, and I picked Christmas, Bloody Christmas, also known as Bloody Christmas Bloody. Uh,
What's funny is that
So good.
when we talked about this, I kept looking at Bloody Christmas Bloody, and I'm like, this shit's not popping up, man. Like this thing doesn't exist. And I remember getting frustrated. I'm like, it should be like I thought it was like Sunday Bloody Sunday, so Christmas Bloody Christmas. No, it was.
Yeah.
and I gave it to Dan. This is a newer movie compared to the other ones that we've already talked about because I had already seen this movie. I knew it was ridiculous, but I felt it was the level of ridiculous that you can kind of sit back and be entertained laughing at the movie itself. Uh, so that was my gift to Dan. Dan,
Thank you.
take it over. What you
All
think?
right. So the very beginning, I felt so Kevin Smith dialogue. Like I said, it's their attempt at Kevin Smith dialogue. For 30 freaking minutes of this movie, you have this guy and this girl that are just talking about movies, and they're total hipsters, just hating on every single movie, hating on A Christmas Story. Like they were trying to overanalyze like how the guy makes nachos and how they eat it. They try to make it seem so Kevin Smith, and I'm like, get on with the movie. Like, I'm here to watch some killing. I'm not here to see a bad attempt at Kevin Smith. Like, let's go. All of a sudden, we have a Robo Santa that just like starts just hacking people and killing people for like God, why? I don't know. Like, did they really explain why, or did he just go haywire?
It malfunctioned.
He just malfunctioned, which automatically goes into kill mode. Maybe I saw that in an episode of Simpsons, where they maybe something like that. Sure. But the movie starts off with a bunch of infomercials, which sound ridiculous. So you see like a family malt liquor where you see the dad pouring the kids like booze, and it's like, oh, liquor for the whole family. It's like, what? So you're just seeing like a bunch of ridiculous stuff. I saw like a Robo Santa that had over 90,000 words in it new. So I was like, why does a robot need to know 90,000 words? Like Santa himself and every iteration of Santa that we've ever seen in any movie, you ever combine all those words that he's ever used in all those movies, I don't think we've ever gotten 90,000 words. So like, that seems seems so ridiculous. Like we don't need that. I said, finally, when he starts going haywire, the deaths are ridiculous. There was one where you see this woman in a bathroom and she's like screaming, and he comes in and he puts like a axe right into her face, and it's such a bad prosthetic that it goes right in her eyeball. And I actually cheered out loud and said, yes, right when I saw it, because I love cheesy deaths. That's funny. You see a little kid crying and stuff, and he goes and he just murders people. What's awesome is that even though it's a robotic Santa, you would think, oh, it means they made it look like a robot. No, George, no, they didn't. It's just a guy dressed as Santa walking around, and they just put lights in his shirt that was glowing green until later, and all of a sudden they use really cheap, yeah, like prosthetic stuff that they added to his thing, to the very end. So even when you see the movie poster for it, he's got like green eyes and stuff. Looks way cooler than anything you will ever see in the actual movie. So they oversold it. And then
The
then I
green laser eyes.
green laser eyes. I said I actually liked some of the lighting, the onset lighting, because they used a lot of like purples, blues, greens. It might have seemed very retro 80s, even though it doesn't take place in 80s because they keep talking about Reddit. Really weird. I said, let's see. I said the main guy didn't really have much charisma, so I was glad to see him die. I said I kind of like what else? I said the cops that are in the movie are the least looking cops I've ever seen in any movie ever. I'm like, they all have facial hair and they look like hippies. Clearly,
They're
they're
like
the
mall
filmmakers.
cops. They got
Yeah,
uniforms.
bunch of them, like beards, a mustache. I'm like, they're not even supposed to dress like that. Like, that's not even approved, first of all, to be a cop. Second of all, that guy's probably the editor. The other guy's probably the lighting guy. It was so ridiculous. And at the end, you see her electrocute the Santa with like, she pulls out wires and it's not even like flowing with electricity. She just stabs it with like wires, and all of a sudden, such cheap prosthetic, like fireworks things going off. You see her just walk into the street and she collapses, just crying into this. Like it's their artistic shot at the end. I'm like, what the fuck did I just watch? So that's the movie. So at the end, I'm like, got it. Christmas, bloody Christmas. Because if I was an alien and I saw this movie thinking this is how Christmas is for Earthlings, I would never come back and celebrate Christmas again. I'd be like, I'm out. So,
Not like in the movie we watched, they were like, let's leave that Santa there. We don't need that in our lives on Mars.
You don't need that. Yeah. Let's just make that bloody. So those are my overall thoughts. So does it sound intriguing to you, Marie and George, to want to watch this movie?
I mean, the way you described it, I was like, yeah, I want to
kind of want to see how bad it is now.
I think you kind of do. I think you actually should kind of watch it.
It's so random. Like it's like that beginning part seems like from another movie, and then they get into the actual rampage of the robot. But I did like that. Like once the rampage started, it was like, that's it. Let's just take out a bunch of people and stuff. And they tried to do the Terminator moment, like where it just kept coming no matter what they did to him. That's what they said. But it just, no matter all the destruction, whether they shot it, they destroyed a piece of it, it just would not stop. So they tried to do that. But yeah, it's one of those movies, you watch once if you're gonna have some adult beverages in the meantime to kind of ease through it. You can have a couple of laughs at the movie while you're watching it. How many ho-hos?
I'd give it about a ho and a half. I'd give it a ho and a half because some of the deaths were really funny. The infomercials was ridiculous, but it was a little funny. There was some funny chuckles and stuff in it. The Kevin Smith dialogue did get kind of annoying. I felt like she was better than the guy was. That if they would have casted a better guy, I felt like it would have felt a little more charismatic there. So I give it a ho and a half. Yeah, much better than the Santa Conquers the Martians. Much better.
Because I gave Santa Claus the story a ho and a half, I'm gonna have to push it up to 2 hoes. Because if I had to choose between both of them, I'm watching that one over the other one. So we'll go ho ho.
For which one? For Christmas, Bloody Christmas?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. All right. So Marie, who did you get?
Yeah.
What's the movie and why?
First, I don't know why that Reddit comment you said slayed me, pun intended. That when you said that Reddit thing, it was like an axe to my eyeball, Daniel. I laughed so hard. Oh my god.
Axe to the eyeball.
Yes.
That's our new
keyboard. Okay.
That's our new motto. Like anytime something gets you so much, it's like that axe to the eyeball.
Axe to the eyeball. Okay. Well, okay. So I got George, who has seen every Christmas movie, and then there's me, who's seen the least amount of movies compared to all you guys, and I knew I was gonna get George. So I'm like, what can I give him that I haven't seen? Me of all people. So I was like, I'm gonna get him with White Christmas. I'm gonna get him because when I sent you guys the cover to White Christmas, and you're like, oh, Daniel said it was so white or something. It's like the whitest movie, and I'm like, oh, I'll give it to George. Give George the movie. And he, of course, has seen it. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna throw him a curveball with a Shirley Temple movie. Oh no, George has seen. This is what I was working with. So Daniel gave me a little Christmas gift and it was like, oh, your voice.
Yeah, where'd you get this? My leg is shaking while I'm saying. Like I have Tourette's or something.
Nailed it. Perfect Daniel impression.
Yeah. Daniel, bloody Daniel.
I'm just a Daniel.
Reddit.
No, I feel like Daniel should be working at a 7-Eleven offering us some like hot dogs or some shit. Or a slushy, yeah.
You want this wiener, oh George? Yeah, you want that wiener, don't you?
The ketchup on top.
Here's your mayonnaise. I just hear jingle bells swishing, and I don't even know who they're coming from. They're coming from Jose. He's just going like this, and he's jingling.
knew that piercing would pay off.
If you're back in an old episode, we talk about this. Jose's balls do jingle.
They jingle all the way. Yes, they do. There's octaves to these things.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I guess,
Okay.
Marie, you got
Anyway-
George.
Anyway, and I didn't know what to do. So Daniel said, Marie, in the group chat, Marie, give George this. Make him watch this movie. A movie called Santa with Muscles, starring Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And I was like, that one, I was thinking, okay, I have to watch it too, though. But guess what? I wasn't mad about it. So I was like, okay. And then I gifted it through Daniel's gift. It was like a chain gift to George.
A regift.
So George,
A regift, yeah.
free gift. So what did
Marie.
so George? How was it for you?
Marie, if I could jump in
What?
real quick.
Yeah.
I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think that movie was actually like produced. The person behind it is Leonardo's character from Wolf of Wall Street.
Is it really?
The character that he plays, like the real
Yeah.
person, was behind that movie.
Yeah, Jordan
he-
Belfort.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's him, Jordan Belfort.
Yep.
Ah.
Damn.
He's the one behind that movie.
Yeah. He's an executive
Okay.
producer, so it's not like he's
He paid the money though.
big, but he's
Yeah.
he
I mean,
financed
he
some of
owns
it.
the money. He owns the money. I mean, he owns the movie. That's
Yeah.
pretty big.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
But it's not like he wrote the movie. He just
No,
came
no,
in. He's
no.
like, "You
No,
guys
no,
need money?
no.
Here I am."
Yeah.
He's like, this
But it
is the
kinda
movie
makes
that I'm going to put
sense.
my money into it.
He used it for laundering purposes.
I mean, it makes sense for a reason. George,
It
what
does.
George, what is the movie about?
Mhm.
Well, I feel like I got to mention what I thought the movie was going to be. So when you
Okay.
see the cover
Yeah.
to this thing, you see Hulk Hogan, sleeveless Santa outfit, and he's just like this with his muscles. And I'm thinking like, okay, Santa with muscles, Hulk Hogan. It's going to be like a child version of
Yep.
Violent Night. Santa
Mm.
Claus is, doing his thing, and he notices, oh, this town or this area is being corrupted or taken over by terrorists or some stuff. Santa Hogan has to come in and, mess stuff up.
Is it not?
It's not that. It's
That's
not,
what I thought
it's
too.
not that at all.
Dang it!
No.
That was like
Nope.
3 ninjas.
No, not that. Movie opens up with straight on Hulk Hogan, immediately on Hogan. All
Okay.
right, and he's at like this mansion, and he's wearing like army fatigues, like Desert Storm army fatigues, and he's like sneaking into the mansion, and all of a sudden he starts fighting like the butler and the chef and then the bodyguard of the mansion. Like, what's happening right now?
Oh, he
It's like,
hates
is
the
he
help,
on
huh?
a co-op mission of some sort? And then eventually the fight stops, and he's like, all right, good job, guys. And you find out that they all work for him. This is his mansion. And it's like if Richie Rich grew up, but didn't grow up at the same time. And this is just like a thing he does where like they test him every day to see how fast he could be at taking them out. And you find out like he's like the 4th richest man in like the tri-state area, and he has like this whole company that is built off of like muscle milk stuff and cereal. He has a whole product line
Bars,
with
power
his
bars, yeah.
power bars. Yeah, like it's all with his face still on it and everything. So that's his whole gimmick in the beginning of the movie.
I don't like
Right?
that yet.
Is that
Yeah.
it's not related to Santa whatsoever.
Dang it!
And so-
Precious.
After all this goes down, he ends up he's like, oh, it's that time, I gotta go on a meeting. The meeting is a paintball fight. So he meets up with his boys to go paintballing. They all jump into their Jeeps and they're speeding down the highway where they're causing chaos. Like you swear that the road belongs to them, and they're just speeding and goofing around, shooting paintballs. And we get to see Clint Howard, who is our sheriff, I guess.
Yeah, Clint Howard.
Yeah,
ice cream
law
man.
official, and he should not be the leader of the cops who are going to go after them, but he's just trying to like be a cop, and they speed by him. He has to get them now, as opposed to being a good law-abiding citizen. No, this guy is a Richie Rich type character, so he's like, this is all fun. Let's keep on going, and they keep speeding through the city now, and he ends up like jumping out of the car, and he ditches his boy in the Jeep. And they stop at the mall. So now he's hiding at the mall, this is where it all starts to go down and come to fruition with our Santa with muscles.
Yeah.
So we see that the mall does not have a mall Santa. And for some reason in Santa's village, there's a bunch of elves, elves, the people who work at the mall, playing poker.
Grown-ass men.
Grown-ass men, yeah. And the lady who runs the mall, she's like, if you guys don't get me a Santa, whatever, blah, blah. I was like, I'll give you $50, whoever can find me a Santa today. So one of them finds a Santa, and it happens to be Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan.
Why? How do they see it's Santa with
coming.
him? Okay.
It's
here's how it
Santa's
goes
coming.
down.
All right. Santa's
Hulk
coming.
Hogan finds a way to disguise himself. He finds a Santa costume. He puts it on, but he's still trying to avoid the cops. The cops have found out he's in the mall, so he hides in a trash chute. He's hanging by the trash chute door where the cops are standing, and like, where could he have gone? And he's just standing there, holding on. Then all of a sudden, hold on 1 second. That didn't cover anything. Okay. And so he's just holding on, and there's a janitor up top, like 3 floors up, who's throwing out garbage, so it's hitting him. And for some reason, he throws away a Santa statue. It's not even Christmas yet. We're celebrating Christmas month, but he's throwing away a Santa statue. You'd figure they would use it as decoration. No, it has to get thrown away. Bonks him in the head, and then he falls down, and he gets amnesia. And this is when the elf finds him.
Yes.
I like how that was like the most unbelievable thing about this movie to you. They're throwing away the Christmas decoration and it's not even Christmas. That's so
It's the most
unbelievable.
illogical thing to do.
You got to throw it away before it malfunctions and starts taking out people in the mall.
Exactly. Can't have it be bloody now.
So yeah, elf finds him, and he ends up convincing him. He's like, "Oh, who am I?" And he's like, "Oh, you're Santa Claus." He's like, "Come with me." This is all after he robs him, by the way. He takes his wallet, sees that he is the richest dude in the area. Here's how much money's in his wallet. $250.
Yeah.
$250 in his wallet. And the guy's
rich.
I'm rich. It should have just been the quote from Chappelle's show. I'm rich, bitch. Because that's how excited he was. He was so, he's like, yes, like I'm finally out of debt.
Good for him. Good for him. His little elf needs, his little elf.
So yeah, so after that, he's convinced him that he's Santa Claus. He goes to do the Santa Claus thing, talks to all the kids and everything. But now they're in the mall. They're also raising money for this shelter for an orphanage. It's an orphanage shelter. That's kind of running out of money, and they're gonna shut down. This is where we start to see the things come to fruition. We're like, okay, so what is he here for? What's the Santa with muscles going to be all about? There's a big bad guy who's also one of the richest guys in the area, and he's buying up all of the locations. The only place he has
What's his name?
is the orphanage. That's a good question. I don't remember anyone's name because no one mattered to me.
His last name was Frost. I'll put it that way. His last name was something. It was something Frost.
It was
Just thought
Ebner
that was
Frost.
hilarious.
Ebner.
Frost.
Okay,
Not Ebenezer Scrooge
Frost.
or
Did
Jack
Hulk
Frost.
Hogan have sleeveless shirt? Like, was he sleeveless at this time?
Not
No.
yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
What the
No.
hell?
It's like having
Right now
Batman
he's
and
still
not
in
putting him
Santa
in
gear.
suit.
Yeah, because see, at this point, like just random thugs end up trying to steal some of the charity money, and he stops them in Hulk Hogan style. In which I will note, in this fight, at one point, Hulk Hogan has a stunt double, where all the person has to do is throw someone off of him. This is 1996. Hulk
A
Hogan was in
wrestler?
WCW as a wrestler, and he needed a stunt double for someone to throw a body. I thought that was great.
Insurance purposes. Got to be insurance purposes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So after
That's
all
because
that,
he has amnesia, so he forgot he's a wrestler.
He forgot he was a
There
wrestler.
you go.
Yeah.
So he saves the day. He ends up in the papers as Santa with muscles saves the day, and he ends up like going after some people. I'm trying to remember how he gets from point A to point B here, because it's all a blur of chaos at this point. Because like I said, now we find out who the bad guy is. This bad guy and his croonies are straight up comic book characters. I mean, to the point, like it's so bad where like one of them, like they always wears a scientist's coat every time. He has his white lab coat all the time. There's a lady who has electric hands. Like there's this cheap CGI electricity surging from her hands at all times. There's another guy who's like, like Palpatine, but stays concentrated. Another dude looks like he came straight out of Captain Planet. She's
rubbing her feet on the carpet and just getting static electricity.
That would have been great. That wasn't it.
No.
It was like gloves. It was
Oh
these
my
static
God.
gloves.
Batteries.
Yeah. Oh man, these characters were ridiculous.
No, but the other guy was the scientist guy was the worst with
He was the worst.
his
Yeah.
fart spray.
He has a fart spray. Oh.
Well,
Definitely
that
intended
was
for
the other
kids.
guy. I think that was the ratty guy. There was a ratty guy who had a spray that was like stinky. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
methane gas.
And these guys, I want to point out, they are doing terrible things to the town. Like they have been terrorizing the orphanage. Like they ripped their statue of the founder off their property and everything. The cops do nothing about this, by the way. The
Clint
cops
Howard
are way
doesn't
too
do anything
concerned
about this?
about Blake or Hulk Hogan's character because he ran a red light. Like he's the one we're after. We're not after this guy who's literally terrorizing the town and just like putting everyone through hell. Like he's torturing people on his property. Like just straight torture. And like nothing happens. He's also a germaphobe. That's an important feature, I guess. So he doesn't leave his home. He needs everything sanitized.
This is Hulk Hogan?
No, this is the bad guy.
No, that's the bad guy.
This is the bad guy. Yeah.
Well, he's sophisticated, right?
Yeah, sure.
Layers to this movie.
There's so much, man.
No, there's more layers.
There's so
I
much.
don't want to interrupt
Yeah.
George, but I don't.
Yeah,
Are you going to get to the
let's get to the orphanage.
This has
which
more layers than either of the two movies that I watched. Literally.
There's a lot happening in this, only in a Hulk Hogan movie.
It's ambitious.
Yeah, so they end up at the orphanage. Hulk Hogan's at the orphanage. He ends up saving the kids in one of the many altercations with this bad guy and his cronies, right? And they end up housing him for a bit because he's like, I got to stay here and I got to protect these kids and everything, because they might come back. And this is where, by the way, Mila Kunis is in this movie. A
What?
very young Mila Kunis, best actor in the whole fucking movie. All right,
Yeah.
Mila Kunis steals the show. If you watch this movie, you'll understand why she gets cast in that '70s show, because she is that person. She's the one who actually makes his costume into like the sleeveless muscle shirt. This little girl who's like 12 years old.
She's
makes
the
him a
true
new
hero.
Costume. She
But
is
why?
for that reason.
Why did he need that costume?
because it got dirty.
So he can maneuver more.
Yeah,
You know,
it's great.
Just
It's great.
like
Because then
Let
he'd
the
just be
pits
Santa
breathe.
Claus. He wouldn't be Santa with muscles.
Yeah.
Santa with
Exactly.
sleeves.
So it took
Santa's with
70.
sleeves.
So are we at 75-minute marker before we actually get Santa with muscles? So he was just Santa this whole time?
No, but
this is
halfway.
like probably like a third to halfway
third.
through. Yeah.
All this
Yeah.
happened in the third of the
Yeah.
movie.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Jesus
No.
Christ.
There's so much
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh
I
my
haven't even gotten to
God.
why the orphanage is being terrorized.
This is a Christopher Nolan version of Christmas movies, man. Jesus.
Where's the Snyder cut of this?
Yeah. Damn.
Oh my
So-
god.
Here's another part that's unbelievable to me. I mentioned he's the third richest man in the tri-state area.
Yeah.
No one in the orphanage knows who the hell he is. No, like they're eating his cereal. His cereal is on the table. They're eating it. None of them realize it's him, except for one guy. It's the black guy from SNL. Like I can't remember his name, but the black guy from like the
Kenan
first.
Thompson?
Who? No. What? Damn. You'd think he would fit well in this movie, actually. No.
Tracy
first
Morgan?
year SNL. First year SNL.
Oh,
Original
Jesus.
alumni. I'm sorry.
Eddie
Oh no,
Murphy.
I don't know his name.
His name is Garrett Morris. OG SNL, the real dogs.
If you saw him, you'd recognize his face.
You know him,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. But he's the only guy who knows who he is, because it turns out that he actually is an orphan himself, and he came from this orphanage, but he doesn't remember that. Yeah.
Got amnesia
If
too?
there's some depth.
No, Hulk Hogan doesn't remember that he's an orphan from this orphanage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So at one point, the kids kind of show him like, "Hey, want to see like our underground hideout?" He's like, "Sure, show me." So then we go downstairs where there's like a cave. There's just a cave in the
Catacombs.
basement.
It's a
there's
Straight up.
two-story.
catacombs. Yeah, and there's this huge metal door with a combination lock on it. And somehow they figured out like 3 parts of the combination, not the last 2 parts. And he's like, "Well, let me figure it out." He happens to know the last 2 parts of this combination
Because he used to live
because
there.
he,
Of course.
because he used to live there. Exactly. So now they go inside the cave where there's a bunch of like quartz crystals. And this is where we find out that Mila Kunis knows a lot about geology because she reads books. And she
makes
gives them
clothes.
all a lesson about the geology of the quartz crystals and how come they're explosive. Yes, I said explosive. They are filled with electrical powers that makes them explode. And this is why the bad guy wants their land, because he wants those quartz crystals and their power.
To do what? Blow something up with these?
He's a bad guy.
He's a bad terrorist guy. He's a villain.
I haven't gotten to the next
villain.
layer. There's
So
another
they
layer
have
to
like
this.
an aggro crag down in the basement.
This is a 7-layer bean dip. Oh, Jesus.
This is only 20 minutes into the movie.
Honestly, it feels
Credits are
more
just
like,
ending about now.
I don't know if you ever watched the episode of Friends where Jennifer Aniston character makes the trifle. This is what this movie felt like. It felt like the meat-filled trifle. All right, it tasted like feet.
Ugh. But it smells like rat poop, right? The guy with the spray.
So we'll speed along a little bit. We'll get over the fact that the main little girl of this movie sucks balls so hard she can't sing. They let her sing. Oh my god, it was horrible. And so let's go to the point where the bad guy and his people are now on location. They're trying to like fight him and get to the cave. They're gonna make the kids work as slave labor to mine this cave. And eventually, like Hulk Hogan gets his memory back, and he realizes who he is. And he's like, well, he still remembers that those kids mattered, and the lessons he learned, and now he's gonna be a better guy. So he goes down there and saves them, and he fights this dude. And then we find out that not only was he an orphan to this place, but the bad guy was an orphan to this place too, and they were best friends as kids. And they just happened to go down different paths within life.
Despicable Me.
Exactly.
Despicable
Pretty
Me.
much.
And they end up having a big brawl down in the catacombs with all of the quartz crystals, and they break a bunch of quartz crystals, and then it starts going haywire, and they have to escape and get the hell out of there because it's all gonna explode now. Kunis lets us know this because she knows everything about that stuff. And as they go outside and everyone's out there now, the cops arrive. By the way, now Clint Howard finally gets the job done, quote unquote. And as they're doing this, I can't help but think of the scene from the Poltergeist when the house implodes at the end.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's what this felt like. It felt like they saw that movie and they're like, I need that to happen here. And so the house kind of implodes like Poltergeist, just randomly. Instead of exploding, it kind of just goes down.
Implodes.
Yeah. And this is pretty much where the movie wraps up for the most part. The bad guy gets arrested. Santa with muscles saves the day. He ends up, because now they're like, oh, we don't have a house. What are we going to do? He's like, I think I have a solution to this. And of course, his mansion now becomes the home for the orphanage and all the people. And for some reason, everyone lives there. Like, even the guy who was the elf at the mall is there too. Like, he's just cool.
He wasn't out of debt. He's still in debt, I guess.
He rents
He's
a room.
rich now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He bought the mansion while he was gone. So how are his muscles though? Are his muscles bigger by the end of this movie? Like that's,
I mean, he's Hulk
that's
Hogan.
the draw here.
They're out and about, man.
Wow.
Wow.
So,
I mean, there was character development and some emotional depth in that movie, but you forgot about the whole bazooka scene with the bazooka. You forgot about the white man.
Oh my god, the bazooka! How did I forget about the bazooka?
Never forget the bazooka.
The cops have a bazooka for some odd reason. Out of nowhere. And they
Howard.
at him because he ran a red light. Because
Yeah. There's also a big white man who plays a samurai, which was very why?
Yeah. I mean, there was lots of like martial arts fighting that happened. Which
was fun.
And he just throws them
That was
afterwards.
fun. But you didn't like the part when they're singing Angel Baby, You're So Fine in the church, and then that little girl hits the high note, and then there's a glowing light out of the window for no reason?
Oh my god, that hurt my soul.
You didn't like that?
He sang with her. That's what made it even worse,
Yeah,
is that they sang together.
Hulk Hogan?
You guys,
Hulk Hogan.
Oh, this movie is
singing.
so
They
much.
were singing together.
I loved
Tell me,
it.
was it his actual voice? Was he actually?
Oh, yes, it was his actual voice. Yes.
Yes.
Well, Hulk Hogan was in
he
a
was
band when he was younger.
Singing.
Like, he can play guitar and stuff. Like, he was actually musically talented, but not in singing at all.
So is he anywhere near as talented as Kevin Bacon? Performing?
No one's as talented as Kevin Bacon.
Exactly.
Right?
Question.
No. What the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Okay, so the question is then, George, how many hoes?
I gotta give it 2 ho-hos.
Yeah.
A definite 2 ho-hos.
not gonna lie, I would watch this movie again.
Ooh.
I
She
would
won't
wa-
watch.
I
She won't
would.
watch Training Day again, but she'll watch fucking
I
Santa
wanna.
with
I
muscles.
actually. I want to make Jen watch this movie.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I mean.
Yeah. Because
You
it's a
wanna share
cartoon.
it.
It's a cartoon. That's what it
Yes.
is.
Jose, do you think you're gonna watch this movie?
Hold on. At one point, Hulk Hogan
But like I did.
holds, because the bad guy's vehicle of transportation is an ice cream truck, and he holds the ice cream truck with his bare hands as it's trying to speed away, and he holds it in place.
Yeah.
He's a regular guy, and he's
No,
just
No, he's
holding it.
Santa with
America.
muscles.
Yeah, I think Fast and the Furious took inspiration from this movie. Actually,
I need to digest what you guys just told me.
And
I feel like-
intermission.
I think I'm
Each-
lightheaded right now. I'm kind of lightheaded
each of our
talking about this
movie,
movie.
yeah, each of our movie explanations took about 3 to 5 minutes, and George's took up literally 35 minutes. It's just a 35-minute
Whole
monologue.
movie.
I like how none of
Obviously.
our movies crossed the 2 hosts. Like none of these movies. We didn't give any of us a movie that was like good. Like we knew what we're
No.
going in. Some just surprised a little bit, right? We're like a little surprised, like, oh, okay, cool. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. And some were like, this is worse than I thought. So thanks. You gave me a coal.
I got exactly what I thought I was going to get in the sense of like production level. It was right on par for what I would have expected. The story is what caught me off guard. Did not see it coming.
Yeah, me too.
Mila Kunis, like who thought?
Yeah.
Twist, 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 and twist.
Twist, twist, twist. Catacombs. It's like, okay.
Man.
Everything.
Easily could have casted Steven Seagal in this. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, they
But
didn't
then
need
all the
to.
bad guys would have
They had
died.
Hulk Hogan.
The movie would have been over in like the first 10 minutes.
Bad guys, whole orphanage, everyone.
yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, he would have killed Mila Kunis. We need her.
So on that note, thank you for watching another episode of Not a Strong Start. You can like, comment, subscribe, share on our YouTube channel, Not a Strong Start. You can listen to us anywhere you listen to your podcast. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Not a Strong Start. I am your host, Daniel, Bloody Daniel. You can follow me at King_Sangre.
I am not your host for free. And you can find me at This Is Me Nombre on Instagram.
And I am the other guy, Joe Christmas Spirit. You can find me at Nicolopolis.
I am Momar the Martian, and you can find me on a Santaless Mars planet. No, at Marie Plays It All on
Oh.
Instagram.
It would be interesting to like just join all these movies together. Like the Martians try to kidnap
Muscle Santa.
Muscle Santa, yeah.
Muscle Santa. But then they accidentally also get animatronic Santa. So then animatronic Santa starts wiping out all the Martians, and Santa with muscles has to then protect them, but then also find a way back home. And then the Santa
Santa
from the
Inc.
other movie just does
And then
nothing.
John Lithgow. John Lithgow's just
Yeah,
there
We need
watching it all.
Dudley Moore's elf character has to come with his like super juiced sleigh thing to come and save them.
That sounds
Yeah,
inappropriate.
And then the Santa Claus from that does a complete loop for no reason in his
Yeah.
to save them.
That's a little Easter egg for you guys. You got to watch Santa Claus the movie.
I don't know if you really have to watch it, but
You have to watch it.
there you go.
Just start it at the hour and 1 minute mark, and then you've got pretty much the rest of the movie.